Well, not exactly the way we wanted to end the season, but I look forward to working with this team and getting to where we know we're going to get to. I've been here before. We'll get it done. We're going to get it done. We got to really, starts with me. I got to look at myself, and then I got to look at everything in this program and decide where we go, what direction, how we do things. But certainly we will examine everything. It's not a lot different than what we did the first time here. There's going to be dips. There's going to be some peaks. It's not a linear process, but very, very confident we'll get there. So got to help these kids down there. They're hurting right now. There's a lot of kids that were physically put it on the line for this team today, game time decisions that played, and I tip my hat to them. They're a tough group. Some guys tried and went as long as they could, and then had to back down. But it's a tough group of kids. Didn't go our way, but I look forward to the future. So I'll answer anything I can.
Greg, where do you feel like the offense just kind of, I guess what held it back today?
We made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, we, just some operational things. Initially, we ran a couple times and came flying out of there for some nice runs, and we didn't operate with any real consistency, any real flow. Just got to examine everything.
Just going back on that note, offensively, you said, you'd look back and examine everything after you made the change offensive coordinator. Just want to know what your assessment is of how your team played offensively in the second half of the season compared to the first half.
Well, I'm gonna refrain from that until I really give it some deep study. When you're in the middle of it, you're really trying to get ready for the next one. You evaluate the game before, and you try to fix whatever you can, and then you move on to the next team, because sometimes the issues what occurred in the previous game really aren't applicable to the next one, so you don't spend too much time. I need to look at it and really just study what it is that we fell short, where we fell short, and is it adjustable? Is it a playing issue? Is it a coaching issue? Whatever it is, we have to examine it, address it, and then whatever I do for that to adjust it, that's part of being the head coach.
To that end, what's your plan, anticipation as far as filling the offensive coordinator role in terms of timing, interviewing candidates, and when you'd like to have that all wrapped up?
Yeah, I'm not gonna rush it. Just like when I took the job initially, I have to examine everything, like I said. So literally, guys, I know people think that's maybe a stall or something, but that's literally what I do, and it starts with me. So it's a tough night and day, and we're gonna get home. It's gonna be pretty early. I have a whole bus ride, and then I get home tonight, and I'm gonna start the process as soon as we get home. It's what I do, right? That's what I've done, and it's painful, right? I know this is painful for the players, the coaches, painful for everybody, but I'm encouraged in the fact that we have, I was looking at it on the bus ride down, I think we have 45 players that have 2 years of eligibility or more that have played in Big Ten games. So, we're bringing back a group that has been in games in the Big Ten, and now we can use that as a springboard for the whole off season. And how much improvement we make in this off season will determine what we are next year. But we certainly have a lot of guys that have done it. It's different when you're talking to them about it and they've never done it. So it's just kind of conceptual. Once they've been in it, whether it went well or didn't go well, they know exactly what it is that it's like and how hard it is. So that part of me, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to get right into doing this examination and get going on the program. And this is a different era in college football too. So we'll see what all goes down. And it's a lot of moving parts right now, and especially minutes after a really tough loss. But like I said, I've done it before. We gotta hit the drawing board.
I guess just how would you kind of assess what you saw from Gavin in the totality of his season and where he is right now?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good time for me to get into totality of his season, right? I mean, I think I'll be able to do that better, a little bit later on. He's a very young, talented football player, and the process of development for a quarterback is exceptionally hard. And it's easier when you have a surrounding cast that is really talented. But we have a bunch of guys that are figuring it out. So that doesn't make it easy on the quarterback. It doesn't make it easy on anybody. But the one thing I know is they work really hard, and he works really hard, and we'll continue to improve.
I know it takes time to do this self-reflection, and obviously you're going to take the time to do that, but in the moment for the fans, for the players, what's the one area that you can look in the mirror and say, I want to do differently, I could have done differently? What's something you would change in the immediate, looking back in hindsight?
Oh, there's so many things. I mean, you can't say there's one thing, right? If there was one thing, it would have been done. I mean, this is, when you look, here's the thing that's tricky is you're building something. You think you've got something cured, right? So, okay, we got that handled. And then all of a sudden it rears its ugly head. And, you have different issues you're trying to get fixed then. So it's that 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing that gets you. But you can't let it. I mean, if you grow weary of doing good, then you're going to fail. But we don't grow weary of doing good. And eventually we're going to reap a harvest. It's just a matter of sticking with it.
I guess just as a follow-up, like when does this rebuild start taking shape in the terms that you want to see it?
Well, I think it's taking shape. We've been rebuilding this since we came back. This, it's not like we took over this program that was, right on the cusp. It literally was dysfunctional, right? So it's going to take a little bit. We're working at it, and I'm not going to get into timeline of, it's got to be this by then. I know I look at it, I said, look, this is what's getting better. Today we didn't have some of our guys, and we don't have that many guys, right? So I'm not going to get overly, just because it was the last game. It's a game. It's 1 of 12. Now there'll be time to, self-reflect. There'll be time to do a lot of things. When you're working 80, 85 hours a week, you don't have a lot of self-reflection because you got a job to get done. So it starts now. To our fans, though, we got great fans. I know it's frustrating. It's frustrating to me. But it is going like this. That's one thing I can tell you. And we just have to, everybody hang together. And, if you want Rutgers to win, you got to hang together. We'll win. It's going to happen.
Just a quick clarification first. You said examine everything. Are you putting other changes on the offensive side of the coaching staff? Is that on the table?
Literally every year I do that, Brian. So it's not just, because we're 4-8. Every single season starts with me. Do I still want to do this? Am I a good enough coach to do this? I literally have to look at that and say, because I'm in charge, I got to look at it and say, okay. Right? And it goes from there all the way through every position, whether it's nutrition, whether it's the training room. It doesn't matter to me. Like, every piece of the program is critical. And I examine every piece. Now, will I start with the coaches? Yes, because that's time sensitive, right? The hiring mode is now. But to say you do one piece at a time, that wouldn't be true either. I mean, you got to do this all the time. You're juggling. That's the nature of the job. But it's a tough thing, right? Especially when you're 4-8. It hurts a lot. But you know what? Anything that's worthwhile is hard. Anything that's worthwhile is going to hurt. But that makes it all the sweeter when you start to win and when you start to win big. So I'm looking forward to that, I promise you.
You mentioned the new era of college football. Just actually directly, do you anticipate Gavin Wimsatt being on your roster next fall? And if so, do you anticipate him being your starting quarterback?
Well, I certainly anticipate him being on the roster. I've been led to believe nothing else. But again, to think that or anyone knows what another human is thinking, you never know, right? You never ever know. So would anything shock me? Nothing would shock me. But do I think we have relationships with our players that are above and beyond playing on a field? Yeah, this is, the reason that I'm in coaching. I don't need to do this anymore. The reason I'm in coaching is the development of young men. You get a great opportunity, a platform to develop young men and leave a legacy with they and their families. When I look at the players that we've coached here before and all their families and all their kids, that's a heck of a legacy. And that's why I do it. Now, do you have to win games to keep being able to do it? You do. That's the nature of the business part of it. And I'm not naive to that. But as I said earlier, it's not like we took over, the 86 Giants here. There was things that had to be fixed, and we're fixing them. And we're moving the program forward. And that's what we'll keep doing. And again, I appreciate you guys covering us because that helps us move the program forward, right? Being in the media, being in the public eye, certainly the excitement that you guys generate for our program is critical, and I do appreciate that. All right, thank you, man.